Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. I have another FICM test video, this time for Andy in Florida. Andy sent me a FICM a few months ago, and actually was completely damaged by somebody else, which is a shame because it couldn't be repaired, and he's been struggling to get one for his truck since then. So finally he was able to get one and send it over because obvious reasons he doesn't want that to get damaged and then being in the same situation again. He was, let's say, take advantage by a company. I think it's SIA. I think I'm saying it correctly. And I mean, they're just butchering components. Yes, it's a lot of older companies that offer repairs, and they might have lucky, or they've been lucky in the past because they do small repairs and they have not been cut. And that's what the reason that I try to separate myself from the rest about recording videos, showing you what is done and not how it's done. And I actually, yes, I think a lot of you should understand that the reason I don't show how it's done is because the rest of the starting companies with no knowledge, they will just try to copy and mimic what they see that I do. And then obviously reasons try to lower the prices to destroy my business, and that's not what I'm trying to do here. So yes, I will probably, and I'm not sure, talking about the very near future, I will show and teach what I do when I'm tired of work or so, but not yet. All right, so going back into Andy's, as you see, I have it right here in the bench. This is the one he just sent this time. So let me make sure I go in the correct order. Give me just 1 second. I'm sorry, guys. Something got, where it's not supposed to be. Oh, yeah. But just because it was a small capture. All right, let me move you over to the display capture. All right, so again, if you have a module for repair instrument cluster, look for Mike Salazar Diagnostics. Yes, my name is spelled M-A-I-C and sounds as Mike. And yes, SalazarDiagnostics.com. If you open this on the computer, this is the way it should look. You have my address on the upper left corner, and then in the middle of like the page, under the name of my business, you have two boxes, a white one and a black one. The black one is to fill the form to send a module for repairs. It's very self-explanatory. And then the right one is if you want to email me. And I will recommend to please email me first, like that I can request any further data that I need and keys or something that I need before you send your module for repairs. All right, just make it short, so I don't want to hold you too much into that. All right, so let's go over to this time. So he sent me, they were really dirty, and I cleaned this one with a special chemical that I have here. I always request, please, when you send modules, try to clean as much as possible, because as you see, I'm working in my lab at my house, so it's very hard to clean. Small modules like this, it wasn't like absolutely super dirty, but yeah, I take the time to clean, especially for Andy. I'm trying to help him out. So yeah, this is, as you see, it has a yellow marker, some numbers in there that I cannot read properly, but yeah, the module in this one is a 7513, just to see the last digits. That was just some dielectric grease, and this is something that I want to also address in here. Some technicians and some people think that dielectric grease improves connectivity. No, it does not. So dielectric grease is actually a non-conductive grease. It's just there to repel moisture and water. So when you have a connector like this, that can decrease the connectivity and then end up producing damages. So I'm going to clean this really well for him before that gets sent back, because this is no good. So yes, you can put in the outside of the connector on the O-ring just a little bit of a grease in there to help that sealing seal, right? Seal and prevent water intrusion. You can put them on the back of the connector, let's say, where the each wire enters the connector. That has also a water pack, to help seal, and that will not affect the connection. All right, going into the next picture, you see I just showing you know how much I cleaned this. Now the module open, the first part, and that is, you know, just to show that it looks pretty good. I mean, it's in very good shape. There is a little difference on this one. This is a 13. His original was a 7511. This is a 7513, but I think they're interchangeable, and we'll see, especially in the coils, there is a little different in there, but I think these two work together, not a problem. All right, so I'm just always taking pictures for my records and his records, so the way they looks. That's the back in very good shape again. This is me after the test of the curve tracer, which after replacing all the drivers, not the pre-driver, it was not necessary in this one, which is going to lower the price of the repair. When I had to replace the pre-driver, there is a significant difference in price, and I'm just, you know, in the mercy of whoever had the parts in stock, and that's all I can do, right? So otherwise it will be not repairable, and or else try to get a used one, which again they're trying to sell as refurbished, and they're not really refurbished. So all they do is sandblast your module, make it look nice and clean, and hope for the best that you have no problems in the 1 year or so, and then that's it. All right, so this is where the with the capacitors removed to make sure there was no leaks, no corrosion. Excellent on this time. Same thing under the other capacitor, so everything in here is looking good. He sent another another module, which it was completely burned. So this is the other one. This is a different number. As you see, it's 60773. That's an older FICM, and this one was, I mean, just exploded. And so you can see the damage. Most of the damage on these old ones is because of the same reason, capacitors, the leak, and also these right here. I hope you can see that red arrow circling. That is one-way valve to release moisture and temperature and pressure, right? Because the capacitors are getting hot, components inside are getting hot. So that can allow some of pressure and moisture try to enter. So that is to release, not to enter. So when that breaks, if it's covered like this, first of all, it's no good because it needs to have some release, right? But also if it's open to the atmosphere or so, I mean, this is on the top of the valve covers, this is going to have water or anything entering, and you can see in the picture how that looks. I mean, diesel or grease or oil, anything that is on the engine room is going to destroy your FICM. So if that is broken, yes, they sell it. You can just break the piece up and stick a new one. The plastic in the inside probably will fall inside. That no damage. It's not a problem. You don't need to open the module to replace that. All right, but yeah, Andy, this one was completely not even good for parts because it's burnt too much. All right, so let's do a test. So I already have the tracer, which is the one that takes too long to show again. I have multiple videos. If you want to see how that is done and what tool I use, I have a complete playlist for the FICMs, which I'm going to add in the description of this same video, so you can visit if you want to see that. All right, so let me just double click in here because this is the next test that I do, is to connect the FICM in the bench. This is just a known good capture that I have ready to go. The reason I like to use Pico Automotive or not Automotive is because of the same thing. You can revisit any known good capture, and then all your settings are good to go. So I don't have to, put everything again. Which again, I have plenty of videos if you want to see how I get to this point. All right, so let me just show you quickly the FICM connections and the yellow cover. I'm going to get it a little closer to the camera, so hopefully you can see, Andy, that is indeed yours, and that is the same. All the capacitors are already replaced. I have not applied a conformal, the clear coat that I do is also a water resistant. It's an extra layer of protection that I provide for my repairs. I put 6 coat per side, let it dry, and then seal it back. I use only original and best quality materials in these repairs. Yes, you can buy, let's call it non-original, to not blame or put this into a specific country, because I mean, you can have from many different countries, even coming from China being original manufacturer of the components, right? So Turkey, United States, I mean, it's just different places, Japan. So like I said, you have to know where the original manufacturer of the component was to see if you're getting a copy or an original. I got all data sheets for everything that I work on. All right, so back to the display. All right, so we got this in here. The FICM is actually connecting, so I can, as you see on the upper left corner, this capture is not running. So I'm going to run it right now. So it's going to connect. As you see, it's trying to connect to the oscilloscope. And now is waiting for data. All right, as you can see, I can remove the trigger because it's not really necessary. So you can see that this is indeed live data. I'm going to turn this off so we can see immediately how there's no data. And the only time you will see data happening is if you have a known good working FICM. All right, so I check all, all components except for the, well, not even except, even the ones I install, all the drivers, all the capacitors, diodes, tantalums, etc., right? And everything is working 100%. So my final test is this. So I connect 2 lines of my oscilloscope, channel A, blue channel, and channel B, the red channel, to the can high and can low. So the can high and can low, and this one is a 250 kilobytes. I think it's kilobyte, the correct term. And then I make a match channel. So this is very unique with Picoscope. And you can do this in Picoscope Automotive and not Automotive. They do have, obviously, when you're in the Automotive, you have the waveform library, which is why I have now the Picoscope Automotive in here too. And also because the Pico Automotive is up to 200 volts with no need of an attenuator. The bench one, which I have in here, is a faster and it has a lot of bigger, it's a bigger buffer. That one is 500 megahertz. The Automotive is only 20 megahertz. So it is very big difference in between one and another. So when I need to see something very it's a small voltage inside the board, the Automotive is not enough. Why? Because they're made for 12 volts and 5 volts signals, and there might be a speed signal like this one. We have the CAN bus and it's a fast signal, but as long as it's a CAN bus, it's capable enough. If I would have a flex ray signal, I would have used the other one. Why? Because the flex ray is now in gigahertz. This one is in megahertz, so I can still decode and I can see the signal, and that is in the bandwidth of the oscilloscope. All right, but that is a teaching class. So, all right, so what we see here on the bottom is the actually decoding. So because when I do that channel A minus B, and I did the reason I do a minus B, and it's very specific, you want to make sure that channel A, the blue channel, is in the can high. So can high will be, in this case, 2.5 to 3.5, right? So if we see here, we have 2.5, and then the upper section is around 3.8 or so. And then if we measure the other one, the red channel is going from 2.5, and then the bottom is around, let me see, a little hard to know, like at 1.2 or so volts. Again, this is with no filters or anything, so not a problem. And we want to make sure that this signal, at least in this one, it might be a little different. We can see that we have a 0 to 2.6 volts. So that is A minus B, whatever the signal is. But if I have the channels inverted, the signal will look backwards and it will not decode properly. So you want to make sure that A channel is can high and B channel is can low. And then why is all the things on the bottom red? Well, the reason is because there is no other module connected, and I don't need it. All I need is to make sure there is activity that is sending. This is just the same message, and as you can see in the top, where is that yellow, kind of yellow orange, when I'm having now on open boxing there, you can see in there that says ID. The ID of this message is 18FF0F2, and it repeats 18FF00F2, 18FF0S2. And if I keep going into all the, I have 64 waveforms, and I have like 200 microseconds per division, so I have around 2 milliseconds per screen. So I have 64 screens recorded. They're all the same exact message. Why? Because nobody has responded to this FICM, no engine computer, no globe plug controller. So there is no messages to share with nobody. But the communication is good. And we can see that it's the only reason it's not valid is because it's nobody answering. We might have one in here, like if I click on this one, this will take me over to where that message that has like a red CRC is, and the reason of that is because, again, Picoscope design is per screen. It's not a rolling capture oscilloscope. So this last message was finished not at the end of the message. So if we see the one before, let's just go, let's say, you know, like we have data 80, hopefully you can see my hand in there, data 80, data 00. So after data 80 we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 data zeros, and then 69 and CR626. If we go over to the other one, we have data 80 and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, right? And then not a 69. Why? Because the message was cut. There is no A4 on this one, right? So it's a 69, but that A4 is because the decoder, right, the serial decoding will decode whatever is on the screen. So that is not an error on the communication. It's just the message was cut. And if I start the next screen, that message is there. All right, but yeah, Andy, this is a perfect working FICM. I will contact you shortly to collect payment and send this your way as soon as possible. And again, for all that are watching the videos, I hope that you like the content, you understand a little more what I'm trying to share here, how you can test this even in the vehicle, because these are the same tests that you can do in the vehicle. If you have no communication and no communication with the vehicle, or the car is not starting, it's a crank no start, well, check for powers and grounds on the FICM and then check for communication. If the module has powers and grounds and communication, it should talk. So something else might be there. If you're not having communication, that's a bad sign that you might have a problem with the FICM. So you can unplug the connectors, and I have again show many videos. Just go and visit the playlist that I have here, where I show all the connections. All I need, or all this FICM needs to talk, is 2 grounds, 2 powers, and then a communication, right? Which, if I remember properly, and I don't have it ready to go in here, I think it's 4 and 119. Let me just not say it, because I might say it wrong and that might give you problems. Just watch the other videos and you will see what is necessary for that. This is just a test for the customer to show the actual repairs are good, and that this FICM for him finally, Andy, is good to go. All right, guys, thank you so much for visiting the channel. See you next time. Bye-bye.